Welcome to our very first virtual Nourish. Thank you so much for showing up for us in every single way, for this mission, for being its very heartbeat. We're going to spend the next hour doing some really fun stuff, saying hey to everybody, giving updates, giving you a peek into what's been going on in the gardens, what's been happening in the kitchens, and how all of this impacts our community for the better in a very hard time. Thank you for everything, for being part of this work. I'll be back with you towards the end of this hour, and we're so grateful. All the love. Peace.
Hi, and welcome to the Nashville Food Project. My name is Chef Bianca Morton Hughes, and I'm the chef director here. We've come to a point in time where we have seen the value of our volunteers and our many patrons, and we miss you so much. But I can say that I'm truly proud of the work that we've done thus far, because since March 3rd, when the tornado struck our city, we have done over 50,000 made from scratch nutritious meals. And with your donation, any donation, we'll be able to do that and much, much more, whether or not it's to buy food, supplies, fuel for our trucks, or the basic ingredients to give someone a sense of community or home. For that, we thank you.
Hi, I'm Tandy Wilson, chef and owner at City House. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate the Food Project for their leadership in our community. So many of us want to do good, and without the Food Project, I don't know how we would direct those efforts. So, love y'all. Thanks so much.
I'm Catherine Mayhew. I am a volunteer in the Food Project kitchen, and I thought I would actually show you today what the kinds of things we make. So this is a vegan coleslaw. It's got Food Project cabbage from the CSA. It's got Food Project carrots from the CSA. Ditto the green onions. And then it's got olive oil, tamari, and a little bit of sherry vinegar. And it's got some honey. And it's got some raisins, some sunflower seeds, and some toasted almonds. And you just mix that up. So here's what I miss about the Food Project's kitchen. I miss the camaraderie, I miss the fellowship, I miss the hugs, I miss the creativity, I miss going into the walk-in and seeing all the beautiful ingredients. I even miss doing the dishes. I have to say, being a part of this volunteer corps at the Food Project is really one of the greatest pleasures of my life, and I think I speak for all the volunteers in the kitchen when I say, we cannot wait to get back.
Hello everyone, this is Melissa Eads with Kroger, and I want to thank you for joining us in support of the Nashville Food Project. On behalf of all of us at Kroger, we commend the staff and the volunteers of the Nashville Food Project for all their hard work and dedication over these last 4 months as we've walked through this pandemic. Their efforts have truly made a difference for so many in need. We are happy to partner with them as we share a similar mission to end hunger and eliminate waste. Thanks again, and enjoy this virtual event.
Hey guys, I'm Chef Bianca once again, and we are here to have a little bit of fun at the Nashville Food Project. I'm so thankful that you are joining us for our Nourish dinner, virtual Nourish dinner, but we're going to go ahead and get started. As you can see, I'm by myself. So I have been adequately social distancing. And so now I'm going to remove this mask so that I can actually talk to you a little bit better and you can understand me. Okay, here we go guys. So we at the Nashville Food Project, as you very well know, is that we like to use what we have. We like to utilize the ingredients that we get on donations from local farms, from our own production garden, our community gardeners, and our Growing Together program. And as you can imagine, during this time that we've been in right now, we've been making sure that we support those in-house programs and those farmers and our Growing Together farmers as well, get the nutritious vegetables and things that they need. So we're going to highlight and showcase that, because what better way to give the TNFP example than to like pretty much have a mystery basket. So a quick pickle. This is a recipe that is really, really popular with our Growing Together farmers, and you'll see it featured in some links today with our numerous videos. But something really easy, mostly stuff that you can have at home. And this is what this dinner party is going to be all about. We're going to pretty much be using what we have and making sure that we're using every aspect of the ingredients and products that we receive. So I have some beautiful carrots from our Growing Together. As you can see, I did all the prep work like that. We also have some beautiful radishes. These radishes are from our production garden. And we have red onions, candied red onions from Sweeter Days Farm, as well as cucumbers donated from Sugar Camp Farm. Now, here is the piece de resistance. It is the beautiful dragon tongue beans. This is a bean that our Growing Together farmers have been growing quite frequently, and you might see it featured in a few restaurants soon, like the Husk and other restaurants that buy from our Growing Together farmers. But today, we're going to use it in a quick pickle, and then we're going to show some other ways that we can use all of the bean in making us a beautiful dragon bean tub salad. Okay, so first, quick pickle. This pickle, if we're gonna like do a quick boil with the ingredients, and when we do that, we're gonna allow it to kind of like simmer or quick boil for like 2 minutes, and then we're gonna turn it off. And that means that you can have these pickled vegetables today. There's no waiting. There's no 24-hour chill down and cool, but you can have them today and have all that beautiful steep pickle flavor. But if you do want them to stay longer, and you do want it to seep in even more, they're even better the next day or the day after. That's the best part about pickling. And then we're just preserving that natural freshness of the vegetables. So with our quick pickle, we have a few basic ingredients, and what you need to realize is that a pickle is similar to a brine. So you have ratios of salt and sugar. And whereas the brine would have a more salty ratio, our pickle ratio has more sugar than salt. And we make sure we have some acid, like our vinegar. Today we're going to be using some apple cider vinegar. You're more than welcome to be using a white distilled vinegar, which doesn't have as much flavor, but we also use like apple cider vinegar, red wine vinegar, would not recommend balsamic vinegar, but a sherry vinegar or a vinegar that has more acid in it. And it doesn't really affect that much of the flavor of the pickle. But this is just a real traditional and easy pickle. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some water. Good thing I don't wear glasses, huh? And we are also going to add some apple cider vinegar. The fun thing about like brines and pickles is that it doesn't have to be exact. You can get away with using so many different combinations and varieties, and you can adjust it based on your own flavor profiles. We're also going to use salt. Now that 1 part of salt that I use, I'm going to use triple the amount of sugar in there. Just because I like that sweet and salty like thing. So like what you would use maybe like in the bread and butter pickles. And we're going to let that dissolve and make sure that our sugar and our salt are dissolved in the mixture. And while that's going, we're going to throw in some fresh red pepper, because who doesn't like a little kick? We're going to throw in some garlic cloves. You easily, if you have fresh garlic in your refrigerator that's already been minced or sitting in oil, that will work just as well. We just want to make sure that we infuse as many different flavors as possible. And if you have things here that you don't have at home, think about things that you might have in your own cupboards or in your refrigerator or pantries. Whether or not you have peppercorn, or if you have any type of whole type of seeds. They'll be great additions to whatever flavor profile you're looking for in your own personal pickle. I'm going to throw in some bay leaves. And a special thing is that the Growing Together farmers brought me some beautiful, as you can see displayed all here, some beautiful seeds. And these seeds are perfect addition. These clary a flavor profile similar to coriander. And not only are they beautiful and they're edible, but it just adds that extra little punch that you're looking for. I think that this recipe turned out so well that I'm probably going to use a version of this for our TNFP burger that's going to be featured for Burger Week. So make sure you look out for that information. Okay, now that we're getting nice and warm and all our sugar and salt has dissolved in here, we're going to add some vegetables. Now, we just want to make sure that they get a nice seep on here. I'm going to do a mixture of vegetables. We're going to do some cucumber. Isn't that beautiful? I wish I could smell this right now. So I can imagine if you're at home and you're doing this right now, the different smells that are coming into your kitchen right now. I don't think there's anything that quite carries a smell as like just like all the flavors in home of cooking. And I think that's like what really makes the home. This is the kind of thing that doesn't take very much time to process. It doesn't even take that much time to implement. As you can see, you have all these beautiful vegetables. And if you're looking to preserve them for longer use, we can take this same cooking liquid and just add it to those vegetables and let them seep in there overnight. And then boom, you already have your jars individually separated. But I thought what better way than the National Food Project way is to make sure that we did like a mixed vegetable. I constantly see my coworkers walking around eating like raw beans and salads and nuts and berries. So like it's a great combination and a great flavor profile. So this cooks for about 2-3 minutes once it hits a boil. And since I'm cooking on a different type of burner, this is an induction burner, these never get hot. It's just only the bottom of the pan. So I don't want y'all to be fearing that I'm burning my hands. My hands, I don't have pot holders. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tilt this towards you so that you can see some of the colors that are in there and how pretty and beautiful that looks. Isn't that gorgeous, y'all? This is absolutely stunning, but I bet what you're doing at home right now looks even better than mine. So we're gonna let that cook in this liquid. And while that's simmering, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next project.
I want to give you a short tour of what's growing in the production gardens right now at the community farm at Mill Ridge. We've got carrots almost ready, strawberries we're picking, kale, some baby lettuce, some lettuce mix back there, some beets, we got potatoes under insect cover. And out in the extension, you can see squash getting started. That's where our tomatoes and peppers are gonna go, and all our summer veg. Another thing we've got growing out here is some beautiful cover crop. This is a nice mix of oats, peas, and vetch. It's just about ready to cut. And we'll use it to mulch these beds for planting in a month or so. We've got some bush beans germinating under insect cover. We've got some nice looking kohlrabi sizing up.
Let us first remember the trees. If you can imagine 1,000 years ago to when this hillside and all that our eyes could see was covered in a vast forest of maple, oak, chestnut, and hickory. A squirrel could travel for miles without touching the ground. Let us remember the indigenous people who lived here from time immemorial, who hunted the buffalo, elk, and the deer that once roamed here. The Mississippian Indian culture who created vast networks of agricultural communities in large cities, who raised the three sisters of corn, beans, and squash, and who built large ceremonial mounds throughout Tennessee and the Southeast.
Let us remember the Cherokee and the Shawnee, who thrived here for hundreds of years before European settlers arrived, who were forcibly removed by Andrew Jackson and his Indian Removal Act of 1830, and were marched on the Trail of Tears off of this land they had lived on for generations to new, unfamiliar, and unwelcoming territory. European settlers started arriving in this area in the 1700s. By 1850, the railroad had arrived, and this area of Mill Ridge supported a 400-acre mixed-use vegetable and animal farm owned by James Holloway. 20% of Tennessee residents at that time were blacks living in slavery. 32 enslaved people lived and worked on this nearby Holloway farm, and the graves of their descendants can now be found throughout this park property.
Let us remember that the conversion of these fields from forest to agricultural use, that the development of this community with a thriving agricultural economy was dependent on the labor of black slaves. The Moore family bought this property in 1919. It was a dairy farm for many years, then converted to a cattle only in 1950. In 1930, the house was built. It was one of the first in the area to have running water and an indoor bathroom. The house of the Moore family farm is now owned by Metro Parks, and it is hoped to be an integral part of this community farm development in the future. Let us remember, and let us move forward in this remembering, giving thanks to those who came before, and embracing the stewardship that is now our privilege to uphold.
Yes, my name is Lasairai. I'm from Myanmar. Now I attend this farm. I'm very happy here because I have a lot of vegetables and for it and for cash. I have a lot of. I'm so happy to attend here. My favorite is potato. Because my grandson, his favorite is potato like me, so that I grow potato.
Hey, I'm Ryan from TKO, and we got some beautiful produce from Grown Together that we use. We change the menu seasonally, so having some Asian produce that they are growing in a pretty awesome way works out really well for us. So we got some, they're just big scallions, these little red onions, some small bok choy, and red leaf mustard greens that are they have sort of a really, they're like a normal mustard green, but like amplified, like a lot of horseradishy, wasabi, mustard kind of vibe going on with them. And we're gonna make a stir-fried noodle dish with Mr. Aaron's Goods. He works out of our place. He's making us some chili noodles. Now we use chilies and Szechuan peppercorns in the actual noodle. So we'll cut up this onion real quick, and then we'll get over to the wok and do it all up. Okay, so we're gonna make this stir-fried noodle dish. It's chili noodles from Mr. Aaron's Goods, a whole mix of little cabbage, carrots, the green onions, some of the mustards, and the bok choy. We're kind of all stir-fry all that together so that everything stays crispy. It's gonna be pretty fast. Then we have a sauce that we have made with roasted and garlic oil, some chilies, and a little soy sauce. Let the wok heat up nice and hot. dark soy sauce is what's used for color to make the noodles, get the noodles the color that you expect. Like when you do a little stir-fried noodles. Obviously just water.
I'm getting the whole thing, but we will be.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then we make some soybeans. We cook the soybeans and we fry them for a while, and then toss in some chili oil and a little bit of garlic oil, so you got a little crispy, crunchy on top. And it's the chili noodles.
My name is Grace Biggs, and I'm the Director of Food Access at the Nashville Food Project. We say a lot here that good food alone isn't a solution to hunger, and that's why we root our model in partnership, aligning nutritious food support with the work of other anti-poverty and community-building efforts in our city, because this is work that we can't do alone, and that's true now more than ever. Throughout this pandemic, we've seen that it's harder than ever for people to get the food they want and need, but this isn't something that happened overnight. This is built up on top of a lot of years of historic injustices and inequalities, and there's a lot of change that has to happen, and that's not something that can be done without the support of a whole community. So we're really leaning on that more than ever right now and listening to the needs of our partners, and we've been hearing that fresh food is a real gap. So in addition to the meals that we've been sharing in the community, we've started establishing partnerships, sharing groceries, especially fresh produce, and have shared something like 60,000 pounds of groceries since the tornadoes.
Hey, I'm Margot McCormick from Margot Cafe and Bar, and I'm here to tell you why we love the Nashville Food Project. I wholeheartedly believe that food should not be an elitist, socioeconomic treat. It should be affordable to everybody. We have a lot of food deserts here in Nashville that maybe people don't know about, and that the Nashville Food Project tries to fill these gaps. And we were actually a recipient of some of the food bags over the period between the tornado and then the beginning of COVID, where we actually received bags for our staff, some of our staff who were not on unemployment or didn't have the resources to support themselves. And we were eternally thankful for that, to be able to do that for our people. And so if we need to do that for our people, then I'm sure there are so many other people out there that need to be on that receiving end. People at the Nashville Food Project are great, so friendly, so smart, so savvy, and very humble about what they do also, which is to really feed so many people. And it's not canned goods. It's fresh, organic farm food that's going to make you healthy and put a smile on your face.
When you think Nashville Food Project, you think of food that is like vibrant and like nutritious and healthy. And it's not just, doesn't just taste good, but it looks good. If you'll see right here in the basket that I have, these are all the vegetables that we're using today, whether or not it's in the pickle or whether or not we're using it in our dragon bean salad. But that's just another way that you can see that food is art. And what we do here is not just filling a need of substance, but look how beautiful that is. How can that speak over every language, every community? There is nothing more important than community, and this is what community is. It's just a combination of so many different profiles. So we are going to make this dragon bean salad. You can easily take the pickled dragon tongue beans that we got from growing together, and we're going to use these as the base of our salad. I have some that are raw because who doesn't like a little nice fresh crunch? And then we have some that I have pickled and blanched for use in the salad. So, first things first is we want to make a quick dressing. This is the finished dressing that we're going to be making today. And it only takes a few ingredients and it only takes a few seconds. And this dressing, I've already had several people beg me, including Sally, our growing together manager, for this jar when we're finished today. Maybe we can purchase this at our next scratch made, probably in December. Since we're doing a lot of stuff virtually and online, I would love to see this as a featured ingredient. Okay, so this is the easiest dressing ever. We're gonna make a basic vinaigrette, but we're gonna add a little tang to it. We're gonna make a spicy honey mustard like vinaigrette. And I thought the best way to do is to complement the flavors that we already had. So we're gonna use some fresh chopped ginger. We're gonna use some fresh chopped garlic and oil, courtesy of our own meals team. We're also gonna use a little stone brown mustard. You are more than welcome to use Dijon mustard, Creole mustard, or any type of mustard that you have on hand. This is stuff that is really simple, y'all. Y'all probably have most of this in your refrigerator right now. We're also gonna use some gochujang paste. Now, you don't have this, you can't get to the international market, or you don't know anyone that carries it. A simple red chili paste will suffice. I like this because of different Korean style flavors that it enhances the rest of the dragon tongue beans, but you don't have to use that. A regular chili paste will suffice. We're gonna put a little of that in there. And then we're gonna make sure that we're mixing that all together. As you can see, this is what's gonna give our vinaigrette the beautiful color that you saw earlier with the finished product. Okay, so after we do that, we're going to add in some rice wine vinegar. I opted to use rice wine vinegar because again, we're thinking about what ways that we can use to enhance the natural flavor of the products that we have in front of us. We don't want to take away with what we got from our local farms and our growing together farmers. We want to enhance them. So we're going to use some rice wine vinegar. Again, you don't have rice wine vinegar on hand, you can easily use some sherry vinegar, red wine vinegar, champagne vinegar, or white balsamic, something that is a little bit lighter in color. And I'm gonna mix all this together. And then I'm gonna add also some honey, because we wanna add a little bit of sweetness in there to combat the heat and the smokiness of the chili paste. Okay. And then we're gonna whisk all this together, try to get it as smooth as possible. Well, without having the chunks of garlic and ginger. But this is what's gonna make the dressing. So you can see how beautifully that's already come together? And then we're gonna drizzle some olive oil in there, just to emulsify it and give it a little bit of body. I think many of you who have worked in our kitchens are familiar with making large batches of vinaigrette, so this should be easy for you. Now you're more than welcome to add salt and pepper to taste, but I also found that this right here is enough and we don't need to add anything else. So what do we do with the salad? How are we gonna make this salad the bulk of it? Well, we're looking at different greens that would be the most complement, and I found that the arugula that we got from Sweeter Days Farm was a great complement to that. So we're gonna use that as our major base of the salad. Isn't that beautiful, y'all? See how it just flows in there? And then we're gonna start adding in some of our beautiful ingredients. What I have here today, of course, are the blanched and pickled dragon tongue beans. We're also gonna add some julienne peppers. I used a melange of red, yellow, and orange peppers because I like color. We're also gonna add some fresh red onions that we got from Sweeter Days Farm. And we're gonna do some shaved carrots. These carrots are from Growing Together as well as Sugar Cane Farm. Y'all notice the theme here? We're gonna make sure that we add a little bit of flavor, because what better way to enhance all of this than some fresh Thai basil from, you guessed it, our Growing Together farmers. Okay, we have our base for our salad. We already have our dressing in the bottom, so this is like a one pot salad. We're going to toss all of this together. Isn't that beautiful? And as you can see, that was almost the perfect amount of dressing. Just that little bit right there. And if you're looking for this recipe, stay tuned. I'm sure you can click on here and get that. But isn't that beautiful, y'all? What better way to say the Nashville Food Project than vibrant? And what we're gonna do after this is we're gonna add a little of our fresh julienne cut on the bias dragon tongue beans. The Growing Together farmers let me know that although it's great pickled and great blanched and steamed, that the true essence of it is in the raw vegetable oil. Plus you get to see all the colors of what it is. And if you didn't notice what it looked like before being cooked or done anything with, this is it. Isn't that gorgeous? I've never seen a bean that beautiful, and it also has lots of crunch. Okay, so we have the TNFP featured dragon tongue bean salad with fresh arugula, Thai basil, julienne onions and peppers, shaved carrots, and of course some diced on the side. Isn't that beautiful, y'all? All right, so what you guys got on your table? I know that it looks just as beautiful as what we've done here today, and I can't wait to see what you came up with or your own version. Welcome to Nourish.
Hey y'all, this is Elizabeth with the Nashville Food Project. Today I wanted to share our statement of anti-racism with you. About 3 years ago when I was joining the TNFP team, this is one of the first statements, one of the first values that Tolu and the crew shared with me. And I think it is so important because it really provides this lens through which we view our work. If we want to reduce hunger, if we want to create community food security, it's not just how do we make sure people aren't hungry, it's asking, well, why are people hungry to begin with? And when we start asking those questions, we have to get into these systems of oppression and the systemic racism that's really baked into the DNA of who we are as a society. So when we're looking at our garden programming, and discussing land access and agricultural land access for people of color or people who have traditionally been marginalized, or when we're looking at our meals program and determining what kind of poverty interrupting work that we want to align our meals and our food sharing with, we do that through the lens of this anti-racism policy. This is something we're striving towards. We have not figured it out. We're continuing to do work internally and externally, but this is kind of a charge that we put out there. This is a challenge to ourselves and hopefully a challenge to you as well, to keep us accountable and to join us in this work. The Nashville Food Project acknowledges that racism permeates every aspect of society, including our food system. Racism is the product of social, institutional, and economic power paired with racial justice, and results in unequal access at all levels of the food system for people of color. We envision a vibrant community food system that is relational, ecological, and accessible to all. To that end, our organization is committed to the necessary work of identifying, discussing, and dismantling racism. We invite you to join us in this commitment and in this ongoing work.
Hello to our absolutely incredible Nashville Food Project community. What a time. I pray you are all safe and healthy and chugging along. In many respects, I think that's like the most we can hope for right now. Everything feels turned upside down and hard. And I've been tasked with bringing a word of hope in the midst of so much human crisis and so much hurting in such a heavy time. Maybe you're like me and your mind is just racing with the enormity and weight of this time of global pandemic and racial injustice and police brutality and economic fallout and people without the very basic things they need to keep going. And of course, food is one of those things. As I reflect on what it means to nourish our community, it goes beyond, obviously, the basic human right of access to food. When it comes to nourishing Nashville, no one person can do that. That's obvious. In fact, it takes an entire village to just nourish ourselves and be nourished in body, mind, and spirit. I heard Brene Brown talk once about just get in the arena. And what I think she meant by that is what we're all called to do, what we're all asked to do, it's our responsibility to do is to show up for something we believe in, for someone we believe in, for some community we believe in, some issue, cause, hope, we have. In my own faith tradition, I think that's what faith is giving an account of the hope that is in you. There's so much that feels so broken and so overwhelming, and yet we keep going in hope. And I have been witness to so very many of you showing up with that hope in your body, on your face, in your whole being. You bring forward this hope, this account of the hope that is within you. Whether you're showing up in the gardens, whether you're showing up to prepare gorgeous meals or share them in the community, you have kept us going and you continue to do so. One of the values at the Nashville Food Project is transformation, and it's probably the most aspirational of all our values, but we continue to define it, we continue to refer to it, we continue to dream it, we continue to believe transformation is possible. And one of the ways we talk about that and live into that belief is really thinking about fiercest hope and what fiercest hope looks like. With fiercest hope, we believe situations and people can change. When we look at the systemic and structural reasons, whole communities, whole cities, whole groups of people don't have access to something as basic and fundamental to life and living as nutritious food, we have to believe with fiercest hope, with everything we have, with our resources, with our voice, with our microphone, with our hard work, with our voting, with our relationships, with our money. We use it all to show up with fiercest hope that people and situations can get better. You are part of that. Thank you for getting in the arena, for being witness to that, for sharing the resources you have, great and small. It is all so meaningful to this work, to our community, to our greater city, and the whole of a healthy community and a healthy Nashville. So thank you. We love you. We miss you terribly. And we believe we will reunite again soon in due time. But in the meantime, thanks for keeping the light on for our mission, for our people, and sending you big love.